Tark Johnson spent 22 years as a Capitol Hill police officer. On January 6th, he says he was in charge of securing the certification of the presidential election. So he was right in the middle of it. If anyone was, Tark Johnson was. Here's more of our sit-down interview with him. Mr. Johnson, thank you for joining us.
And thank you for having me.
So from the outside, here's how it looked. We now know that huge parts of the federal government were aware that there was going to be something big happening at the Capitol on January 6th. They knew there were going to be big demonstrations there, and they prepared for that. But the Capitol Police, on which you served for 22 years, did not seem prepared at all, and of course that would be the front line in preparedness. Was the Capitol Police prepared for that day?
The frontline officers and supervisors were not prepared for that at all.
When you say it all, so you had no idea it was coming?
We knew that there was going to be a demonstration that day, but we had no idea that we were going to be facing what we faced on that actual day.
So things start to fall apart, people stream in the building, you call upwards in the command chain, help me, you don't get a response, what do you do next?
So around 2 o'clock, it may have been a little bit after 2 o'clock, I hear a officer say that the Capitol was breached. So I ran inside of the building. I ran, to assist. I knew that that location of where that first breach occurred was near where the members of Congress would be locked in. We initiated a lockdown, so that means the chamber doors on the Senate side and the House side were locked. So that means the members of Congress would be safe inside those locked rooms.
Yes.
So I ran over to the House side first to make sure that those doors were locked. Then I ran over to the Senate side to make sure those doors were locked. So I asked over the radio and I say something to the effect that we need direction. We have hundreds of people inside of the building. What do you want us to do? We need some direction. I heard no response. No response. So, at that particular time.
How could nobody responded?
Nobody responded.
At some point you put on a MAGA hat.
Yes. Now,
I think we have it. I think we have the actual MAGA hat.
Yes, we actually do have the MAGA hat. I have it here in plastic, so here it is. Want to take it? Yeah.
J6, it says.
Yeah, I labeled it J6.
So tell us why you put the hat on and how that was related to your suspension.
That's what got me national attention was the wearing of the MAGA hat. They were officers. We had a distress call that there were approximately 10 or 11 officers, I can't remember the exact number, were trapped at the top of the rotunda steps. So I elicited the help of some CDU officers to help me go up the steps. And I kept yelling that all the way up the steps, giving people high fives, trying to make it up the steps to get to the guys. And as I was going down, there was a demonstrator on, I believe he was on my right side of me, so he reached over, I didn't know what he was doing, I didn't know if he was gonna hit me, and he put the MAGA hat on my head. So as I was still trying to walk down the steps, then he asked for the hat back, and I said, well, I would like to keep it because the hat's gonna help me.
Yeah, it's your passport through the crowd.
Yeah, exactly.
So the Capitol Police is by definition nonpartisan. It serves both parties in the Congress. It protects members of both parties.
100%.
And it has to be that way. In the wake of January 6th, you saw what looked like partisanship at the Capitol Police. Did you perceive that?
I'm still shocked because as a Capitol Police officer, we even had we had our chief of police at the time. His name was, Stephen's son. And he called for all the officers who was at work that day. He called for everybody to come in, and we all went to Emancipation Hall in the CVC. And this was during the Black Lives Matter demonstrations.
Yes.
And he told us that as Capitol Police officers, we need to stay neutral. We need to stay neutral, period. So we were like, okay, that's what we do. Because we protect Democrats, we protect, Republicans, we protect everybody. So we need to stay neutral. So then after January 6th, you had some police officers who wasn't neutral. It didn't seem neutral.
At all?
Yeah, and that was an issue, yes.
So, that devalues the credibility of Capitol Police, doesn't it, if they're allowed to be partisan in public?
They're supposed to be neutral, period.
Since you were there on January 6th, what did you think of the job of the January 6th committee? Do you think that they were honest in the way they approached it? Do you think they got to the truth?
I prayed almost daily that they would get to me. I was never asked to testify, and if you listen to the radio...
You were never asked by the January 6th committee?
I was never asked by any anybody connected to the January 6th committee to testify. I ask myself why every day, and every day I might have a different answer, but I looked at what pretty much they focused on Donald Trump and not the failures of the Capitol Police.
Why do you think they were there?
I think that some people there had planned on being violent. Some people may have turned violent after what they were going through. I think that people wanted to support their president. Some of those people wanted just to support him, and some of those people didn't commit violence, and some of those people didn't plan on it.
Subscribe to the Fox News YouTube channel to catch our nightly opens, stories that are changing the world and changing your life. From Tucker Carlson tonight.